Well, guys, as you know, I thrive on calling out shit weasels, and it seems today we got a top tier one that in recent years has actually shown himself to be lower than pond scum, but I expect many of you already know that. We are, as the title suggests, talking about LBC host and certified tosspot Nick Ferrari, who it's got to be said has gone the extra mile to make himself look like scum with this little clip that we've got here. This is in relation to the Telford grooming scum that is now in the news thanks to a report slating Telford Old Bill for letting it happen over the past 30 years. Obviously, it's beyond despicable and something that still happens to this day, but Nick Ferrari seems to think the victims are not the most affected by this. Yep, listen to this hot take for me, guys, because it's bloody incredible.
I want to share some of the reporting there's been about this. This actually goes back to the 1970s. And these girls were seen as easy prey for gangs of, and this has to be said, largely Asian men. By the way, the people who are let down the most are decent Asian families living in Telford. Because I cannot imagine who would want these people convicted more than those decent families who are just trying to live their lives as everyone else, putting their kids through school, just keeping their heads down, having a decent life, going on holiday once a year or whatever else it might be. The idea that their community, can now be seen to have been named or labelled in this way is shocking for them. That is why action needs to be taken. It is a very small minority of these people, and they have to be brought to book. Exploiters were emboldened by the fact police and local authorities were uninterested in these crimes. They were more concerned about not inflaming racial tension. I mean,
well, what a complete clusterfuck that was, in literally every sense of the word. In fact, it's all that bad, I'm not sure where to even begin with it, if I'm honest. I guess, firstly, let's stop calling them Asian, because they're mostly Pakistani gangs that are doing this. I mean, if it was a bunch of white English guys doing it, you wouldn't call them European, would you, Nick? No, you, like the BBC, would be calling them racist white men, but not once do you point out the fact that these men have racial motives when they're committing these crimes. I mean, you don't see them doing it to Muslim girls, do you, after all?
I reckon he's got some there now.
He reckons you got some in there.
Now, I've got to say, I do find it funny that when covering a report on grooming gangs being covered up to not sound racist, we got Nick Ferrari here avoiding the cold hard facts of the case to not sound racist himself. Yes, let's remember, this report is calling out the old bill for not arresting these people because they happen to have brown skin. Yet here we have Nick Ferrari calling men he knows a Pakistani Asian because lefty Twitter tosspots will call him racist if he does. Talk about bloody clown world or what? Now though, with the smaller issues aside, what in the good lord fuck was he actually thinking, saying decent Asian families are most affected by this? I mean, they're not Asian to start with, so leave half the world out of the crimes of one nation citizens and stop talking shit, will you, please? The people most affected are the victims of these crimes, followed by their family and their friends. In fact, I find it rage-inducing that this has to be said in 2020, but I guess here we are. As we know, other families don't even come close to how it affects the people that it directly involves, you complete wanker, even if yes, decent non-rapey Pakistani nationals will be sickened by it also. But them being sickened by it does not make them the most affected by it, of course, because only an idiot would actually assume that every Pakistani national would do this for it to even affect them. It's the same way only an idiot would think that all white people are like Jimmy Savile or all black people are like R. Kelly, you complete muppet. Obviously, it's nothing but nonsense because the people who do it are considered scum by all, except of course other scumbags. Now, the fact that it's a minority of a minority doing this on the scale that it is done proves just how corrupt and worthless the police are when it comes to dealing with these crimes, and also the governments, how they failed us over many years for allowing it to happen and facilitating it, I would say. Now, yes, I will be charitable and say the wife of these rapists might well be sickened by their husband's actions, but their pain is nothing compared to that of the victims, so stop virtue signalling and say it like it is, you complete wanker.